Islam Makhachev. Now, I got to tell you, I really like the way this team does this. I believe that Khabib's team is possibly the only real team that we have. And in addition, they're competitors. And there's just not a lot of that in the sport. It's where it started, it's what the inception was, and the entertainment era came, ushered in by yours truly. And it's very refreshing. It really is very nice to see a real competitor like Islam, where if there was no money and there was no fame, right, much like the Olympic Games, just for example, he would still pursue it for the accomplishment. It's what he knows. It's what he's part of. Man against man, agreed amount of time, who can have more points when the clock runs out, right? It's a very honorable thing. Islam has said, I don't know if I want to go back to 155 pounds. It was very hard to make. Just him being very honest. He says, but I am interested in the fight with Ilia. So, let's just take a real quick look at this, guys. Just so everybody's on the same page. The way the story goes, and I believe this to be completely correct, but the way the story goes is when Dana accepted Ilia's phone call, and Dana does not like when guys walk away from the belt. There's an entire history on that dates back to a Las Vegas courtroom in roughly 2006 with Dana on one side and BJ Penn on the other. I'm just sharing with you, he does not like when Josh Barnett returned for the championship that he never lost. He never got that opportunity again. I can tell you, as many times as you want to do this, Dana does not like when somebody walks away from the belt. So when he took the phone call from Ilia that says, look, I can tell you now, or you can find out when I get on the scale, I'm not going to weigh 145 pounds in competition again. I really admire the way Ilia did this, and Ilia did do this right. Even though that is something that Dana does, like, between the options, Ilia did it right. He called him ahead of time. Said, I'm not going to get back down here. So we can figure out what to do, or somewhere along the way, I burn you. But either way, you're going to find out I'm not weighing 145 pounds by choice in this life again. Okay, great. I'll let you go to 155. I'll recognize that you're a world champion. I'll recognize that you're undefeated. I will put you right into a world title fight. You can sink or swim. That'll be up to you. But if I do that, we don't have this call again. You don't call me and tell me I'm going up to 170. All right. Ilia agrees. So, Islam then comes in. Just behind him, and Islam says, I'm going up to 170. Dana says, all right. This isn't going to be a champ-champ situation. I'm going to take your belt. The same as I did to Ilia. I'm going to take your belt. I'm going to get on with it. I'm not going to hold the guys up on the roster that have similar dreams as you. I'll let you go to 170. I'll recognize your achievements. I'll recognize you're a world champion. And I will put you into a world title fight and you can sink or swim, right? Same conversation. He says, but I don't want to hear this again. And everything is agreed to. This is the way the story is told. And Islam has been rather eager to, through the media, return to 155 to take on Ilia. Now, I would be curious where that came from, and I think that I know. The timeline of these events is wildly important. And the timeline of these events was recognized when they came out with the pound-for-pound list. Islam was in front of Ilia. With Islam not losing, He will always be in front of Ilia. Ilia wins, Islam wins. And that didn't happen here. Because the order of events was Ilia left, came to the 155-pound weight class, and sought out a fight with Islam. Challenged him, called him out, stuck a finger in his chest, showed his level of sincerity by giving his belt back. This is how sincere I am. Not a Volkanovski where I keep my belt and try to get your belt. I will walk from this belt. I'm coming for this belt. It was a massive sign of sincerity, and they were both in the division, at least on paper, at the same time. And then comes the information that Islam is going to go to 170 pounds. Fine. Goes into a world title fight, and you can see those incredible accomplishments, and you can see all of the things that would bring. But then, see, the timeline here is everything. Then comes a pretty strong talk by Islam and company that they're going to return to 55 to take on Ilia Topuria. Now, I feel that what happened is they dismissed Ilia, and you're not the rightful guy here, and we're fighting all of the best guys, and on we go. And then Ilia comes up, get his come up, and shows how good he was, takes on a common opponent, beats him faster, whatever you want to do with that. But all of a sudden, it starts to really show the importance of getting these guys together, or at least feinting that you want to. The part that I don't believe Islam is aware is that when he experiences life at 170 pounds, he's never going to go back to 155. There's nobody in fighting that wants to be smaller. There's nobody in life except for a dude that's obese that wants to be smaller. I mean, I'll just share that with you. Like, if you can experience this at 170, it's what Ilia got to do, and he really enjoyed it. I'll give you a more recent example, but we just saw Aljo Sterling and how well he did, but he also moved up a weight class, and he was genuinely just a happier, nicer, healthier looking person. Conor McGregor, if you want to go back a little bit, not only went up one weight class, he went to made-up weight classes and even a third weight class. Guys, when they have success, don't cut weight. Nobody cuts weight for competition. Cutting weight is a very cowardly thing to do. That's the part that nobody talks about. They don't talk about it because they're got to talk to the man in the mirror, because they all do it. Cutting weight is a cowardly thing to do because nobody has ever cut weight to find competition. 100% of people that cut weight are avoiding competition. There's somebody here they don't want, so they cut down to here. It's just important that you understand that concept, because the idea that Islam will cut down to 155, which is what going to 170 is all about, not having to go to 155. But the idea that Islam would go back to 55 to pursue a championship that he already walked away from, like he's really getting this one wrong. He's way off. If Islam wants to go stand his ground at 170 and he can get over on Jack, which by the way is a very hard thing to do, then you got Kamaru Usman coming at you on top of that. If Ilia would like to come to 170, then that would be the move. But it would not be in line with the history of the sport to have success and then cut weight to try to have success. Which, by the way, is reclaiming the very belt that you just walked away from. It just wouldn't work that way. That's all I'm sharing with you. And if you were going to make a super fight, and you were going to change weight classes, you would take Islam to 185 and you would put him with Chimaev. I mean, I'm just sharing with you, like, this idea of 55 and of this magnificent fight between Ilia Topuria. And I know that Islam and Ilia, they want that to be a huge fight, but they're just wrong. You don't sell one more t-shirt. You don't sell one more bag of popcorn. You don't do one more dollar at the gate with Islam versus Ilia than you do Patty the Batty versus Ilia. And I know that's difficult for some of you hardcores to understand. But a lot of things are difficult for you hardcores to understand. It's the reason the hardcore market represents 15% of the market. I'm part of it. But we've got to be aware. We've got to stand back. And I'm only sharing for you when I continue to hear talk from Islam of wanting to fight with Ilia Topuria. I'm into it. I'm into Islam. I'm into Khabib. I'm into the attitude, the whole thing. But to make believe that that opportunity didn't exist less than 3 months ago, to make believe that they were not in the same weight class, even if momentarily, and that Ilia was calling him out, I'm not willing to rewrite history, and I hope that you aren't either.